Well, and just specifically honing in on that client NPS portion, talk to us a little bit about that, and how it really leads the team to be able to produce more referrals if they're tracking the client NPS.
Yeah, so in order to make sure that you have a healthy business, right, and a healthy business means that, you know, your production is working at the right levels. So your cost of goods sold is at below 40%. Your fees are growing, so you're meeting budget every month. That your new clients that are coming on board are greater than the clients that you're losing, right? That your cash flow, your cash that's tied up in the business is under 20 days, right? Your lockup days are under 20 days, and your clients are happy and your staff are happy. So those are key metrics that's found in the Fab 5. So I just look at that Fab 5 and I know where I'm having some problems. So recently, you know, we had a problem in our NPS for our staff, and consequently a manager wasn't performing well, and his staff complained, and you know, we lost a few staff members, right, because the staff NPS was down. But in this case here, we're talking about referrals. So your client NPS needs to be at 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. If they're giving you 9 out of 10 or more, then they're going to go out there and refer you to their friends. If they're getting between 7 and 8 out of 10, they're happy with your services, but they won't go out of their way to sing your praises to their friends, right? They won't leave you, but they won't go out of their ways to sing your praises. If you're scoring 5 or 6 out of 10, then they're neither happy nor unhappy, but as soon as a competitor comes around with an offer, they're off, they're gone, all right? Now, if you're getting less than 5, then they're looking around now to change accountants, right? So you need an indicator up, you know, to feel the pulse of your organization, so that you don't have to be a prisoner in your organization. So you don't have to see every single client to know how they're feeling. And as the business is getting bigger, and when the business is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, you need these tools in order to know those 5 parts of your business. They're the key parts of your business. So we measure that every month, and that's called the Fab 5. That's in our Wize Hub. So for those of you in our growth program, we help you put all that together. But you know, every month I just look at those numbers, and I know that every part of my business is healthy. Well, we had a bit of a hiccup, as I said, last month, where we lost a few accountants because the manager was not doing his job. And staff don't leave companies, they leave their managers. And this is a classic example of that. You know, the manager wasn't attending to the staff's needs. So, you know, we've been able to recover it and save some of the staff, but it just highlights the fact that, you know, staff leave their managers, not companies. And if you're the owner of the business and you've got a manager there and you're not utilizing the NPS system, you don't know what those staff are feeling below the manager. And if they're really unhappy, right, they won't come and talk to you. They'll just leave because the manager that they're reporting to they're having a conflict with them. They'll just leave. So the NPS it's extremely important to know the temperature of your staff and how they're feeling. And the research shows that if there's an issue, there's always going to be issues, right? Don't pretend that I'm not going to pretend to you that there's no issues. There's always going to be issues, but the point is, the research shows that when you address issues or difficulties or problems immediately, right, the outcome is much better. If you leave it for weeks or months or days or weeks or months, it just festers. And then it gets to a point where, you know, the clients leave, and by the time they've found another accountant and you get the ethical letter, it's too late. right? So with the NPS going out, you know if something's not right. So you address that problem straight away, and then you save that client. And it's much harder to win much more expensive to win a new client than it is to retain an existing client. And to the effort to retain an existing client, if you did something wrong, it's much less than trying to find a new client. So don't ignore this part of the business, which is I call it, it's like a bathtub. You've got the tap to let the water in, then the water goes out the drain. Put a plug in that drain first before you turn the taps on. And the easiest thing is to put the tap on, to put the plug in the drain. That's the easiest piece. And yet a lot of us don't even ask our clients if they're happy with what we're doing. And that's the first thing you should do, is to make sure that you've got your finger on the pulse. And the larger you are, the more you have to depend on these systems.
Thank you, Ed. And I want to add to that, the client NPS system as well. Once you start tracking it and reporting it into your Fab 5 KPIs, it creates so many more opportunities to train your staff in how they can deliver a better customer service. So if they give you a 9 or a 10, the team could have a procedure to follow the client up for a Google review, okay? And they might even be more receptive to have a conversation about additional services and if they would refer more clients to you. If they're giving you a 5 or below, like it's and they're going out of your way to just not speak good about you, it's a good opportunity to catch those people before they go out and cause too much damage. All right, and you can turn that 5 into an 8. Ed, can you share one action point you'd suggest taking next, just to act on this? You mentioned it's about putting the plug in, so the priority being there, but can you share an action to suggest next?
Sure. Obviously it's not just one thing, and you need to implement all of it, but there's no point in implementing if you don't get your team behind you. So if you haven't done this, you've just got to go have a meeting with the team, talk to them about what you're planning to do, and get their buy-in. All right. So if you haven't done this at all, have one-on-one discussions with them, get 80% of them to agree, so that when you have your group meeting with them, the positives outweigh the negative people, the positive people outweigh the negative people, and the majority of the positive people will bring the negative people with them. Right? So you're not going to get everyone positive, so you get the majority, and generally if the majority of them, like 80% of them are buying in and they want to do this, then the ones that are skeptical will come along. Okay, so make sure you're getting everyone to buy in, and then you start implementing the things that we've just talked about one at a time. But it is a holistic approach, because if you just do the NPS, for example, but you don't get your culture right, then you're going to get a lot of negative feedback, and that's counterproductive. Then everybody gets down in the dumps about it, and then you don't do the NPS anymore. All right, so it feeds off each other. So make sure that you don't get put off by one or two things, because it is doing the whole lot that's important. And you need to lead, right? I can't emphasize that enough. You want your staff want to follow. They're looking for a leader. People want strong leadership, right? And they don't want you to follow it. They want you to lead. They might say something negative to you, but what they're really saying is, convince me otherwise, right? That's what they're really saying. And you need to prosecute your case. You need to be confident in that. And coming to these sessions gives you that confidence, because it's really lonely out there, right? And then you get all sorts of people telling you all sorts of things, and then you start questioning yourself, and the staff pushes back, and you start questioning yourself. When you come to these sessions, you get confidence and from everybody around you, right? And it keeps you on track. And leadership is not easy. Otherwise, everybody will be a leader.